Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. I hope you have an amazing day. Happy hump day. Wednesday, we're looking at Bitcoin and once more, seeing what's going on here with this little retracement, potential bounce off this key level support, and obviously hoping for the best in some ways and expecting the worst concurrently. All right, so we're going to take a look here. Actually, quickly to note, there is a very nice little pattern forming here. According to Elliott Wave, we do have a second leg up here, potentially retest the 29,000 range. We'll talk about that and much more. Something to note too, quick congratulations to our community members here. Fantastic stuff here. Took some nice shorts there on XRP and Litecoin. Overnight, this was fully automated through our Premium Plus. Same thing with our Premium Group 2. Took some profits from ApeCoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum Classic, Matic. The list kind of goes on. So again, be sure to check that out if you want to become a better trader. CryptoCash.tech, we have a summer sale going on right now. Link down below. But also just help us jump on over to our Discord and learn and grow with other traders is a fantastic thing. Keep in mind we have tons of education, tons of different ways of just keeping in the know, right? It's just a really cool thing. Happy to be part of that with you. So thanks again to everyone who makes my community a better place. Now, what we want to look at here, of course, is Bitcoin. See what's going on in larger time frames, kind of work our way down. Just to clarify, this little red area here essentially isn't a resistance. I mean, we can change the color. It's tentatively a support. It was previously the CME gap from 27,000 to 27,500. So that little range there, we can extend it out a little bit. That's going to work as potential support level here. Now that we closed above, we want to see if that works out. We tested perfectly. Look at that. The price wicked all the way down to 27,000 even. And so far, we're holding at this Fibonacci level here at about 27,200. So there is a decent chance that could sustain itself. We may also see a wick down here for a lower fair value gap there to be able to kind of fill that, because there is, once again, fair value gap from 26,200 upwards of 27,000. Okay, so again, decent chance we retest that little range. Try not to be overly concerned if we do. I think it would be tentative and likely for the price action to recover from there. Once more, hard to say specifically, but once we have some pretty good fundamental news here in the crypto world, and that could sustain it. But bear in mind too, profits are going to need to be taken at some point because there is some value there left in the scenario here. We can also see some lower liquidity levels as well that could also be swept. So it's best to expect the worst and hope for the best. All right. So with this coin here, what we want to do is we want to talk a little bit about a few key levels. So first of all, we're right at that level here at about the 200-day simple moving average. It's averaging out at about 27,500. That could work as a resistance today, depending on where we close and where we're at. The whole 9 yards, we're going to figure that out, of course, within time. But for right now, the key takeaway here is that we have this descending trend here with the 20-day SMA, and the price action is tentatively holding above that level. Okay, so we want to hold this level here if at all possible. Okay, so ideally, the price just goes sideways and down for a little bit. That's going to be okay. It's going to be unfortunate if we come down much lower than 25,300 range, but I don't think we're there yet, and I don't think that's going to happen with the large amount of volume that we have here. It's going to likely sustain the price action where it's at. Again, these levels, different levels, depending on where you look at it, the 0.5 Fibonacci level, like I was mentioning yesterday, it's a common resistance area, but 0.382 is a really good support. Okay, so we should be able to sustain here. We're looking for a candlestick closure today above 27,200. It's ultimately what we're looking for. All right, so that's fantastic news there. Let's go and jump on over to High Block Capital, kind of see what's going on here. I changed things around here a little bit just to kind of make it a little bit more visually understandable because we had some net longs versus shorts from before, and I just kind of separated the two to make it a little easier for you. So we'll talk about that here in a minute. But as we can see here, tons of liquidations here to the upside. We got a decent amount of liquidation there. I think it was once again about 500, 600 million was introduced into the market within a short amount of time, 15 minutes. I believe I put that on my Twitter. What was the total volume? I'm trying to think here. We are looking at, 502 million in 13 minutes. Okay, so again, some interesting behavior there, and that extra volume is going to come with some extra support, right? So that said, we're in good shape there overall. But right now we got to understand that we are still kind of testing that 200-day simple moving average. That's right there at the range we're at. So there's a possibility we'll see the price kind of average itself out 27,000 to 27,500 for a little while and then leg up from there. It makes more sense for the price to go up from here than down, just based on the overall sentiment. But once more, there's a few key factors to look for. First of all, we're doing well on the MACD here, looking very good. We can also see RSI is averaging itself right around 50. We want to be above that level, but we'll take it right where it's at. All right, so let's go ahead and go right back to here to High Block Capital. So we understand there's liquidations to the long side yesterday. Today we have slightly more liquidation levels to the downside. Of course, we got those late longs in at 28,000. That makes sense. Of course, try not to be a late long or a late short. It's important to try to get in, while things are moving, but not once they've moved, if that makes any sense. Okay, so again, I try not to catch falling knives, so that's not good advice either if you think about it just abstractly, but generally speaking, trying to buy the top is never a great idea. Breakout traders are the least successful in the current market right now. That being said, let's take a quick look here at these cumulative longs. All right, so these are longs basically telling us here that the price action is coming down and the longs are coming down with it. Big surprise, longs are closing their positions and the price is decreasing. Same thing here as well. We're starting to see more shorts enter the market as the price increases. That's pretty standard. Keep in mind, we're not at a massive level like previously here before we saw that dump. We are in a position right now where the price action is tolerable, right? So it could still increase and shorts can continue to increase and we'll still be okay to maintain that level. It's when you start seeing a significant variance when the shorts are above the longs and we see like a lot more shorts entering the market at a higher level. That's when we grow concern. Right now, it's still fairly low, not that much volume in the overall sets of things. Take a look here as well. We can see first day in a while where our fear and greed index is back to neutral. So that's a very good sign. Take a look here, of course, at the open interest for net longs. We want to kind of take a quick peek and see. Again, here's the late longs right there at 27,400. Once more, that's not a terrible place, but not an ideal place too, because the price had wicked up really strong. It's really common for the price to pull back at least to the halfway point, and we're 27,000 is pretty close to that halfway point. So again, I think adding to your position at 27,000, 27.2 is a decent consideration. But for right now, a little bit of patience goes a long way. We can also see some shorts here, right about 27,400. So they're in profit right now, but I think they don't consider taking more profit, they're going to be left without anything there just because it would make sense for the price action for Bitcoin to slowly increase from that 27,000 or higher. Okay, so let's talk about that and see how probable that is. Let's look at the 4 hours and see what's going on. So first of all, 4 hour time frame, we're about halfway through this phase here. We came up to a 5 rather, we're down to a 3. So for lack of better terms, we're kind of just averaging ourselves out right here. So what I want to see in the overall sense of things is the price action, again, closing about 27,200 or higher. The key takeaway here is that we got the 200-day SMA rejecting the price action initially. It'll always happen. The 200 and the 50 are both really strong trend setters. The 200 on the 4 hour, 50 on the daily. And when you hit those levels, you want to expect the price action to kind of wait and hesitate. Okay, so again, we're below the 200 on the daily. We're below the 200 on the 4 hour. Both those moving averages are going to hold the price action in place for a little while. Okay, so I wouldn't expect a massive breakout to the upside. I would expect the price to go sideways and retest those levels first. That would make a lot more sense in the overall situation that we're in right now. Taking a look at the 4 hour, we're starting to see a divergence here forming. This is another reason why we kind of want to be a little bit patient here, try not to jump in. If you do jump in, again, multiple entries, like to me, it would make sense to get in at 27.2. The previous resistance level, 26,700, and then of course 26.2, which is a previous support. Those are 3 levels I'm going to be interested in looking at here in the immediate future to see if we can get in at one of those 3 points, or just averaging down on all 3, so we get a nice little average position. Again, I have a different strategy for my swing trades than most people do, because I'm able to use our automated trading bots, and it's able to add to our position as we go down, and of course take profit targets as we go up. So that said, we're still above 50 on the RSI, but what we could see here is the price action continue to kind of bleed out to the side, 26.7 range, and then initially basically bounce off that level. So we're looking for a bounce off 50 on the RSI, but as we can see, the money flow is coming out of the coin. Big surprise. The money flow is coming out and the price is going down. Shorts are increasing, longs are decreasing. These are all things kind of happening on the back end. But as we start to see that shift, as we start to see more longs into the market, that's when we might want to consider taking our longs ourselves, because once we have this liquidity sweep there and the price action wicks down to that 26.2 mark, we're going to be off to the races. Okay, so just keep that in mind. We're in a pretty good position now, but I think we could see a little bit further downside, or at least to retest that 27,000 range. All right, so the 4 hour is fairly neutral. We're getting rejected by specific resistances. We're slightly bullish in the sense that we are above 50 in the RSI, but we're starting to see that divergence occur. on the hourly, what we were looking at here is a few key factors as well. Now we want to take a quick peek at, of course, TD sequential. We can see we're down to a 6, reset, another 6. So there's nothing like, there's no massive overextensions. This is kind of like the standard rinse and repeat of what happens when the price action shoots up and comes down. Now you could argue that this is a pennant type of pattern. That very well could be the case. And it's more likely to increase from here than decrease because we have these channels that we're working ourselves into. Once we hit that key support, we should bounce. So that key support could be 27,000 or 27.2, hoping for today to close right at that level or higher. That said, let's go ahead and take a look at the cloud and kind of see where our supports are lying. We can kind of see here, of course, even though the price did shoot up, excuse me, we can see the price kind of coming down here into the cloud. Okay, so again, we have confirming factors that we are on the right side of the tracks there, but the bottom line here is that the baseline is above the conversion line, so we've lost our momentum, and the lagging span is within the price action. So that really tells us that a short position and a long position isn't 100% viable right now. Once again, a long, I think, could very well work out. I'm more long biased than short biased at this immediate point, but if you do end up taking a long position, take some profits along the way. Don't get super greedy and hold to 31,000 because there's a chance that may not occur right away, okay? I do think, once again, a retest 28,000 makes more sense than a retest of the 25,000 range. It just seems to be in good shape there. Unless this volume continues to fizzle out, we should be in pretty decent shape. And if we take a look at the volume, we can see we're starting to see a little bit of an increase this morning, of course, once the traditional markets opened. That is standard once we're at that key level support. So to me, 27.2 to 26.2 is a nice little range there to consider adding to your position and the way down. And then we'll probably have that nice little bounce once that fair value gap is closed. Okay. So again, just pay attention. There's a few things we want to look out for. And for right now, we're within that support range, but I would not be surprised if we see just a quick little wick down and the price recovers and comes back up. That's what we're looking for. So I hope that makes sense and I described that correctly. If you found benefit, of course, like, subscribe, follow the whole 9 yards down below. Help us jump on over to our Discord and get engaged with some amazing traders here. We got some fantastic situations here, and I can tell you that overall, it's an interesting market, but I think we're tentatively back on track. Okay, try not to get super excited though just yet, because there's still a lot of room to grow here before we get to that point. Okay, all right. Hope that makes sense. Thanks again so much for joining me here. Have yourself a great rest of the day. See you next one.